Tanny Games here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with a deep dive video, I guess you could call it. I just want to go over some of the little details that I saw during the showcase that I don't think anyone's really looked into or covered yet. They're just sort of little details that I'm really excited by, little things that I've noticed that I think are worth talking about. Everyone's talked about a lot of the big stuff. I've even talked about it on my own channel, going over the roadmaps for the free content and also the paid for content. Most of this in-depth stuff is about the paid for content, by the way, so just as a disclaimer, it's more about the Rift in Time expansion. But there's a couple of really cool little details and things that I saw that I really thought were worth kind of going over and looking at. So I think, why don't we just start things off by looking at the new materials. So we did get a sneak peek into what could potentially be new materials and gems. The first one comes from this picture. I mean, this picture does look like the emerald gems. So you can see the rock. It's very similar to the emerald rock that we mine. But this could be a new gem. This could very well be a new gem. And given that we are getting 3 new biomes, I think it's highly likely that we're going to get some new gems with that as well. So I think this is possibly a teaser at that. We do know that Gameloft have a habit of using placeholders in a lot of their content. They often use the older version of the Scrooge store and things like that. So there is potential that this green gem just doesn't exist on the island. But I think it's highly likely that we are going to get 3 new gems. At least 1 new gem for each biome. We also see a lot of these bronze rocks. So I'm wondering if that's going to give us a new material like copper or something. So we know that we can mine things like iron and gold. And admittedly, they do come from the mining nodes that we get. And these are more sort of apparent like the brick, the stone that we get. But given that sort of like copper's usually like a lesser material, I'm still thinking this could be something that we get, which will be pretty cool because it could mean new craftables and things like that. So I'm very excited by that. And then a third thing that we see a lot of, and these appear in basically all the different biomes, so the Glittering Dunes, Ancient's Landing, and also the Wild Tangle, are these purple teal like gems. Now I don't know if these are going to work a bit like the tree stumps and coral that grow in our current world, where they kind of refresh every day after you hit them. So it's kind of like a never-ending supply of this. But I also wonder if these are going to potentially be the gems that we use to power the new ancient machines. So if we take a look at this screenshot of the auto cooker, we can see it requires gems to work. And sadly, they do need a lot of gems. So these gems, they do look a lot like diamonds. So there is a very solid theory for mining a lot of diamonds, just in case these are diamonds. But I'm thinking these could also be these gems that we see scattered about, and that would make sense. If they're a resource that is really common, that we can get daily from several sources, I think it's highly likely that these could be the gems that we use to power the ancient machines. Yeah, like 1 dish taking 25 of these is quite high. So I think it needs to be a gem that seems to spawn quite regularly and something we can get a lot of in terms of resources. So these gems which spawn in the Glittering Dunes, Wild Tangle and Ancient's Landing do seem perfect for that. The next thing that I kind of want to take a look at and talk about is the new crops and flowers. It does look like we are getting a lot of these. We are shown, and they do talk about strawberries. I assume these are figs as well. They talk about a special fig, and they also talk about cinnamon. But we do see a lot of other things as well, which I think is cool and I want to talk about. So we do see this image. This reminds me of date palms, just based on the shape and the look of it. So I do think that we could be getting dates as an item, which might make sense because I feel like they talk about the dishes later on in the showcase, about these new dishes we can make and things like that. And I feel like we're going to get a variety of sort of fruits or crops that are really going to help us tap into these cultural dishes. So I'm really excited about that. We also see behind one of the hosts, we see this tree which has a really interesting shape to it. So this looks like a kind of nut or seed or something like that, but it's in the shape of a fruit. Now, my first thought was a bird in a tree, and then I'm like thinking, oh, is this like a partridge in a pear tree? So is it like pears? Which could be a possible thing. But then looking at the blossoms underneath where the actual kind of like bird seed is, the shape of the blossom reminds me of the magnolia blossoms, which you get. And the magnolia blossoms make me think of Mulan. And we already know that we are opening up a Mulan realm in spring. We obviously don't know whether we are exactly getting Mulan or possibly one of the characters from her story. I think it's highly likely we'll get Mulan, but like there's always a chance or an argument for us not getting her. But it does remind me of the scene when she's sat with her father and he talks about one of the flowers being late to bloom. And it just reminds me of that magnolia shape underneath. Now, I don't know what ties magnolia has to birds and things like that. I'm not sure. But these are two of the theories that I'm kind of running with or leaning towards anyway for this particular crop. We do also next see our avatar watering a garden. Now this garden looks a lot like Wally's garden, so I'm wondering if we're going to get a second one of these, but this second Wally's garden will specifically grow crops relevant to this new expansion pack, this new biome. So basically this Wally's garden here will only grow crops and things like that and resources that come with the Rift in Time expansion. We can see that we get what looks like some sort of pepper plant, we get some cabbages, and then we also get what I originally thought were carrots, but they could be like purple yams, ube, how do you say that? I don't know how you pronounce that. But yeah, basically purple yams. So it's very possible that's what they are. We do also see some like forageables as well during the showcase. Like we see our character picking up some bamboo shoots. We see them pick up some Venus flytraps. Now, I don't know whether these will class as like resources like the herbs that we pick up, like the vanilla, and the garlic and things like that in our current realm, or if these are going to work more like a flower, like how we, pick up the falling pestamons and things like that. I'm not sure if that's kind of what they're going to be, if they're going to be more of a flower than like a forageable, but I am really interested to find out a bit more in regards to that. Sort of staying on the topic of flowers though, some of my favorites shown, and I think this flower looks absolutely stunning, are these like pointed flowers, which appear to spawn in the desert biome, so the glittering dunes. My gut instinct was that these could be water lilies, but there's potential that these could be star flowers or even dahlias. But these flowers are really, really stunning, especially these blue ones we see behind the host. But we do see that they also come in a variety of colours such as purple and yellow. So I'm very excited to get these new flower forageables and everything like that. I do wonder if we're going to get more craftable items to do with the flowers, because I don't think there's many items we actually use or create using the flowers. So I have quite a big stock of a lot of flowers. The only ones I'm short of at the moment are like the blue lilies that you get from the Frosted Heights, because I'm making a ton of large chests and they do require a lot of those flowers. So they're the ones I'm short on at the moment, but otherwise a lot of my other flowers I've got a massive stockpile of. So I'm very excited to get more flowers and hopefully more crafting recipes with them. We do also see this white flower cluster outside of Remy's. Maybe these are perennials or gypsophila, I think it's called, which is also known as baby's breath. And then we do also have these other flowers, which we've got a mix of. So we've got these kind of like blue ones in this almost tulip shape. And then we've got these white ones at the back, which do remind me a bit of crocus flowers. So I think these are potentially the new flowers that we could be getting. I am really excited to find out a bit more though on those. Now, the next thing that we can kind of talk about is the critters. Obviously they showcase them in the showcase. So we do see the capybaras, we see the king cobras, and we do see the little monkeys, and we see a lot of their different color options as well for them, which I think is really cool. But one of the things that we see, and we only see it for one of the critters, is the actual photo pose that we have with them. So they do show us posing with the king cobra, and it's kind of wrapped around our character, around near their neck, which I think looks really cool, kind of nicely draped. But this is the only one that we see a character pose for. Now, I do have a little theory. I have no evidence to base this on, but I have a feeling that the monkeys might pose in a similar way to the raccoons, maybe on one of our shoulders or something like that. And then I think the capybaras are probably going to work a bit like the fox pose, and maybe we get down to the floor level with them. That's just my initial gut feeling. I could be very wrong, but that's what I'm going to take a guess at for the poses. The next thing that they showcased, which I think we should definitely talk about, is new characters. Now, they actually showed us designs for 3 new characters which haven't actually been announced, and that is Eugene, or Flynn Rider as you may know him. There's also Cogsworth and Lumiere. So we saw these characters when we were showcased the mini board game mechanic that's come into the game, where we can seemingly play as these characters and collect coins to win. But we do see the character models for Lumiere, Cogsworth and Eugene, which I think is really cool. I did have a look at the board game pieces as well, but it seems like all the board game pieces were just relevant to characters already in our valley, such as Olaf and Mickey and Minnie. But these 3 were new, which I thought was really, really exciting. Now, I am a little disappointed about how Eugene looks. You know, they can't get his nose right. But I do think his character model looks slightly off. I'm hoping it's just how he looks in this board game, and that he looks a bit better when he does come into the game, you know, especially since he has his iconic smolder. I'm really excited to have him in game. I'm not sure when he's gonna come, but I know it will be a lot of fun when he does arrive. So I'm really excited about that. And it is really cool to see these character models for Lumiere and Cogsworth, which I actually think look really, really good. So I'm very excited about that. Again, not sure how these are going to come into the game or even when, but it's very exciting just to see these character models kind of fleshed out. I do feel like if they work on the character models, if they design a character model, it's very likely that person is scheduled to come into the game game at some point. Like how we've seen the character models for Cinderella, we'd seen it for Sully, and obviously we know he's coming in late winter. And we have seen Jack Sparrow. I'm not sure I want Jack Sparrow in my game personally, but you know, we've seen a character model for him as well. And we had actually seen a character model for Rapunzel way back when. So I do think, you know, if they make the time and effort to design these character models in some shape or form, at some point they will join the game. The developers have announced they already have a plan for this game for like the next like year or two. So I assume they already have plotted out roughly when they want characters to come. I do think they've taken a lot of feedback from us, especially when we did that survey to decide which characters come when. And I think that's why we've had Eve and Rapunzel come in so soon. Purely for the fact that they were high demanded characters, along with Tiana, who isn't coming until summer, but she is coming. I do think that's really great that they've listened to our feedback and these characters are coming, but we know there's a lot more still to come, and I'm very, very excited for that. So the next thing that really caught my eye with this showcase was actually to do with the new Royal Tool. We have got a lot of sneak peeks in terms of its ability and its arrival to to the valley. We seem to get this Royal Tool from Eve, and we get it out of this circular pedestal. So they show that in the trailer, they show it in the showcase. But what I think is interesting is later on, or during the showcase, we see this station with like a second Royal Tool. Now, I don't think that Royal Tool is meant to be there, but I do wonder if the Royal Tool is something that we upgrade or repair. So we do see our character pulling out these floating orbs and these new types of chests from the ground. I think these things are tied specifically to the Royal Tool. They might also be tied to the actual like repairing the Rift quest line. But I sort of wonder if as part of that quest line we have to upgrade our Royal Tool's ability, you know, a bit like how we upgraded our shovels and our pickaxes to mine and dig stronger things. I think the Royal Tool will need some kind of an upgrade, and I think that's maybe what these chests tie to. And I wonder if we have to use this particular station here to upgrade and work on it, because maybe it's tied into the ancients and their power. So I'm very excited to find out about that, but it really did catch my eye when I seen the character run around the corner while she was holding the Royal Tool, and there's a second Royal Tool. I was like, excuse me, what is that? Like I said, I don't think we're going to have the ability to have two Royal Tools, but I do think maybe there's something to do with like upgrading its ability or powers. The next thing that we can kind of talk about is the diversity in the biomes. I'm really excited to get these biomes. I think they look incredible. We can obviously that we're getting a wide variety of foliage with these biomes. So for instance, they show us this wall of these bamboo trees, which I think look absolutely incredible. Then we have these gorgeous trees, which are reminiscent of a rainforest. And then also we have these trees in Ancient's Landing, which I think look incredible, not only because of the really pretty floral attachments, but they have these hanging lanterns, which I think is so exciting. I think maybe the developers realized how much love we had for the Dreamlight trees and the sparkles, and they were just like, you know what, we've got to give them something else that glows, we've got to give them something else that lights up. So they've made these trees which have these hanging lanterns. I do really hope it's a tree we can use in game and in different biomes. If they are kind of set foliage that are stuck to the ground, I'm going to be so gutted, because I think these trees look absolutely beautiful, and I'm like, why is no one talking about them? Like like maybe I'm alone in this and everything like that, but I'm like, excuse me, this tree is beautiful, why is no one as excited about it as me? But I am really excited. I'm really excited. I love how this new world looks. I love how it looks like it has so much depth and height. You know, we can see this staircase in the glittering dunes, which kind of winds its way up. We also have, in what I assume is the wild tangle, this kind of a vine bridge which gets us up to a higher point, which I think is really, really incredible. It just looks very beautiful, and I think this is really going to help elevate a lot of dream snaps as well, because I think we're going to have such diverse backdrops and also very beautiful backdrops, so I think it's going to add a lot of variety. Do I worry if that might be seen as an unfair advantage? Yes and no. If you pay and put money into this game, then I definitely think there should be benefits and rewards and things like that. And it is just a backdrop after all. It is just a backdrop. Everything else will need to add to any dream snapshots. So I don't think I would necessarily go as far as to say, oh, once we get this new package, only people who have the expansion will do well in dream snaps. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's just going to add a bit more diversity, which I'm really, really looking forward to. Now, I think the next thing we can talk about is Gaston and his home. So a lot of us had a theory that his home was going to be this cottage with like this deer head and antlers on it, which we did see in one of the very early trailers, I think it was. A lot of people theorized that that was going to be Gaston's house, and I did too. But now I'm really, really confused. So in one of the clips, we do see him in front of this like tent, which does look reminiscent of a shipwreck, which is how he is introduced to us. They do go into detail saying Gaston's been shipwrecked on this island, so I'm assuming this little tent is what he's been living in. But then later we see kind of like a dilapidated shack house, which I'm not entirely sure why they've shown us it, but it clearly needs some fixing up. So it's possible that maybe we have to upgrade Gaston's house. It could also be that these are new like decor items, but I feel like they've shown us it for a reason. And then lastly, when we see our group of villagers fishing, we see this cottage, which does look like an orange version of the purple cottage. And I'm like, could this be Gaston's house? Could this be his house fully upgraded? Maybe we have to move him from a small tent to a dilapidated shack to a full proper house when he's fully introduced into our world. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, there's also the option that maybe this is actually just a premium house skin. I'm not entirely sure, but I do think it's interesting that we see these 3 different houses, or sort of settlement areas. I'm not sure what it means. Like I said, it could just be decor items. But they certainly showed us it for a reason. So if it's not a premium house skin, then I think there's a high chance that maybe we have to level up Gaston's house, or at least fix and repair it, which would make sense as well with the Rift in Time concept, that maybe Gaston's house has got stuck in time and it's a bit ruined and worn out, and then by fixing the Rift in Time his house gets better. I don't know, but that's another possibility as well. Although I do think when we look at Eve's house and Rapunzel's house, Rapunzel's tower looks just like her tower and Eve's ship looks just like her ship, but maybe that's because they're in different parts of this new biome, this new world, that maybe their homes aren't affected by the rift. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm excited either way to find out. And whilst I have this image up of them all fishing, they're fishing in this kind of murky water, so I do wonder if this is the quicksand that the host mentioned and talked about during the showcase. And with this, I assume this means we are getting new fish as well, which I am again excited for. New fish for new recipes and things like that. I think that's going to be great to see. I am really looking forward, although I don't do a lot of cooking, I am really looking forward to sort of the diversity this could add to the game. I do use a lot of food items for decorating, and stuff like that. So I'm excited either way, and I'm excited to see if there's new fish we can get. Now I think we can kind of talk about furniture a bit. So firstly, the fast travel wells look incredibly different, but I do love them. I think it's a nice tie-in to the new biomes and the Ancients Landing. We do also see some really cool stone benches, again just kind of more of the ancient style decor, but then we also see these kind of more rustic wooden benches along with this kind of like rustic hanging light, which I think looks really, really cool. I'm very excited to get new pieces to kind of decorate with, both in the new world that we get with the Rift in Time expansion, but also in the current world that we have, current Dreamlight Valley. We do also see some stall sort of shopping like structures, with some more general clutter items like baskets and vases and wooden chests and things like this, which I'm excited for. Just more general sort of decorating pieces, clutter items and things like that, I think will be great to get in game. I do also wonder with this whether we're going to get some new pathing options, like maybe a brick path to match what we have in Ancients Landing, or maybe a sandy path to match the glittering dunes. I think would be really, really cool. So I'm really hoping that we do get some of those, just to decorate with, because I think that would be nice to have a bit more variety in the decorating, the landscaping and things like that. And on to the last sort of small minor topic of discussion, I want to talk about how we travel to this new world. So whilst we do know that teleporters are coming to the game with the teaser of multiplayer, I did notice that our character is often shown in a boat, specifically twice I should say really. But now this may just be for exploring the bottom of Ancients Landing, because we do know this map is incredibly large and there is a lot of detail in terms of the bottom area of the map, which is all in water. So I do have a theory that maybe we can use the boat and we can dock in these little areas to kind of get off and explore. Especially since there's a massive bridge that kind of curves around. I think that's another area that potentially we can explore. But I do also wonder whether it's going to be our method for arrival, a bit like how we used the raft to first meet Ariel when she comes into our game. So I do think there's a high chance that using the boat is going to be our method to get here. I did debate about whether we would go through some sort of portal, which is highly likely. There's a lot of areas that they show us in Ancients Landing with glowing orbs, which could be very reminiscent to the cave that we can explore on Dazzle Beach, where we go down. There's a lot of ancient statues, but then there are also a lot of glowing orbs there. So there's a high chance that we actually use a doorway from our current world to get there. I don't think we're going to be using Skull Rock to get there personally. I think Skull Rock's going to be its own separate thing, or at least I hope it is, because I would love Skull Rock to be more tied into sort of Captain Hook, Peter Pan and all of that. I think it would be a wasted opportunity to have it just lead to this new world. At least that's my theory and hopes. Well, let me know what you think. I think we've kind of covered a lot of details here, a lot of the small things. Obviously, I'm very excited for the expansion pass. I'm excited for the new Star Path, which is coming, where we will get this really gorgeous ice rink and also the new Belle outfit, which actually, after seeing the new Belle outfit, does kind of make me think back to when I said I think her hands are weirdly positioned because she's been modeled to be what like seen in other outfits. And I specifically spoke about her own yellow dress. That still could be an option, but I do wonder that, along with seeing her in the winter outfit, I think it makes her character model look a bit better. Her hands still look a bit off, but I'm still running with the theory that her character model has been designed to wear different outfits. And it's very possible, I think. So I'm very excited about that. I'm obviously very excited to have Jack Skeleton come in. It sounds like we uncover him very much in the same way that we did Mirabelle, but he's going to be tied to an object that appears in the Forgotten Lands. I did wonder if we were going to see like a doorway or something. I thought that might be quite exciting, like a random tree with a door on it that we can open and out pops Jack. I think that would be really cool. So I am very, very excited about that. Obviously, I'm excited about the future characters coming, such as Mulan and Tiana. I don't really care for Mike and Sully or Daisy, to be honest. There'll be nice additions in the valley, don't get me wrong, but they're not characters that I was really hyped and excited for. But either way, there'll be nice additions to have come in. So I think there's a lot of things that we can be kind of looking forward to. I'm excited about multiplayer as well, and having people come to the valley and we can just sort of hang out and all of that. And obviously I'm really looking forward to doing valley tours. And they don't have to be fully fledged valley tours. I do just want to say that. I'm happy to just come and explore and have a look at a couple of your builds. Like if you've got a couple of builds that you designed for Dream Snaps, we can have a look at them. Because I don't want to just talk about builds during these videos. I do also want to talk to you guys about your opinions about the game. What you would like to see for the future of Disney Dreamlight Valley. What things were you most happy to have already implemented in the game and stuff like that. So even if you don't have a fully decorated valley, I would still love to reach out to you. I'd still love to collab and we can sort of do all those things. And whilst I'm wrapping up this video, I do just want to say thank you so much for 500 subscribers. We have finally opened up memberships on the channel, which I think is really exciting, and I'd love to have you all come and join and be a member. Obviously, I know that not everyone has money, so there is no obligation to be a member. I do feel now that I've hit the goal, I am going to have a look into doing live streams here on YouTube. Which is something I'm very, very excited for. So, yeah, I'll keep you posted about that though. But I do want to say a big thanks to you guys, because without you guys, this channel wouldn't really exist at all. I love creating this content for you all. I find it so much fun. I adore this game. And I'm just glad that you guys enjoy it with me. You all mean so much to me. Like, genuinely, I can't put into words how much it means to me to have you guys on this journey. So I just want to say thank you. But yeah, let me know what you think about your theories of what's to come with the Rift in Time expansion. What bits are you most excited for? Did I reveal something new to you today? Let me know. But either way, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!